finally, the wise men, the three kings. These privileged intellectual God chasers, the star-gazing scholars, who Matthew tells us had seen the star rise in the sky of the newborn King of the Jews. This is actually where I come back to Father Henri Nouwen. A white, middle-class European man, a priest and a professor of Harvard Divinity, USA. He was a published author, conference speaker, and pastor. But Nouwen was restless, struggling, lonely. He said that his career had been getting in the way of his vocation. So in 1985, he responded to an invitation to live in L'Arche, an international network of communities where people with and without learning disabilities make a home and a life together. There's one based in Rosetta in South Belfast, actually. L'Arche is where God taught Henri Nouwen, through the non-verbal Adam, that being was more important than doing, among other lessons. Like the wise men, Nouwen journeyed in faith from a place of privilege to a place of humility, to see the image of God in vulnerable human form. They left their culture behind and entered a different community as strangers. The Magi and Nouwen were prepared to invest significant time, energy and resources on a difficult journey of curiosity and a desire to worship, with just a speck of light guiding their hope. The kings poured out their expensive gifts at the foot of God's Son. It's interesting to me that gold, frankincense and myrrh were probably about as practically useful to the infant Christ as Nouwen's university certificates may have been to his friend Adam, sitting waiting patiently to be given a bath. Philippians 2 talks about God emptying himself at the incarnation. Jesus, our Lord, had forsaken his omniscience and had left behind cherubim and seraphim and the presence of his all-powerful Father in favour of being a weak, poor and homeless baby who needed support from his mother to learn to latch. If you were listening to this video on some media device, if you are curious enough to have listened this far, you are more privileged and intellectual and more like the Magi and more like Nouwen than you may have ever previously realised. What if God is calling you and us as a community to invest time, energy and resources to leave our cultural comfort zones and be with people who are neurodiverse and disabled? To stand by families that are ever processing the revelation that their child is special, to honour and support specialty workers in the health and education sectors. Years after Jesus' ascension, St. Paul was to write to the church in Corinth. But God chose the foolish things of the world to shame the wise. God chose the weak things of the world to shame the strong. God chose the things of this world that are common and looked down on. God chose things considered unimportant to do away with things considered important, so that no one can boast to God. That's from 1 Corinthians 1:27-29. But way before all that, in the Judean hillside, an expectant young mother spontaneously sang to the pregnant bump of her cousin these very similar words. He has brought down rulers from their thrones. He has lifted up people who are not considered important. He has filled with good things those who are hungry, but he has sent away those who are rich.